Hello comrades, my name is Fritz and welcome back to the Exiled Adventures. If you'll remember, in the previous episode we briefly camped out in our little hidey hole here after travelling for quite a while looking for sugarcane, and of course we did find some sugarcane. However, what I was really looking for were some cane seeds with which I could actually farm a supply of sugarcane and use it for all of my enchanting needs. And if we check my inventory, you will see that I do have indeed 9 sugarcane, which should be enough, although I did say that I wanted to continue exploring. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, in the previous episode, I did try to wear a jack-o'-lantern over my head, and I realise, of course, that, well, now I realise that you actually have to make it part of your survival inventory. If I just simply wear it over my head like this, you will, of course, see that this is the correct way to wear it, rather than having to just right click and hope that it works. So yes, this doesn't really offer the greatest amount of visibility, but there we go. They will never see me coming. Yoink. Where are they? On this little sandy ledge here, I can then try to work my way up the side of this hill and then continue my pointless, but also, what's he doing? He thinks he's Bruce Forsyth, evidently. Anyway, jump and kill. That was stealthy. Now, if I can actually find the block of wool, that would also be helpful, but obviously the pumpkin is restricting my view, so what I'm going to do is not don that. That's better. And where was it? Okay. Not to be seen. Oh well. Yes, so we continued on our journey westward for no particular reason, because other than the fact that I wanted to find sugarcane and just generally have fun. Now I've come with a few things to talk about this episode, unlike last time. And yeah, I thought I'd want to start out by talking more about SpaceX. And before I do that, quickly, I'm just going to block up my hidey hole like that. And off we go. So yes, SpaceX. So SpaceX is basically a private company, an offshoot really of NASA, as I think I mentioned in the previous video. But SpaceX is completely independent, and I believe it's a European company. Although, okay, this looks dangerous. I believe it is a European company, but you know, they obviously have a lot of funding at their disposal. And I am a bit on fire. A lot of funding at their disposal. So they have a lot of cash to spend on these expensive projects and such like. Which I guess, you know, makes up for the lack of funding that the American government themselves is giving to the space program currently. And yeah, they're doing numerous different projects in the hope that, you know, one day space flight can be commercialized and we can go to places like Mars, etc., etc. And that's basically their own kind of goal. So, yeah, they're testing and launching rockets, and currently the US government has scrapped most of its plans for their prospective Mars mission, the Constellation program, which, you know, in my opinion was quite a bad move. Well, of course I would say that, but, you know, bad move. And it was quite disappointing hearing about their budget and all the rest of it. But I guess it had to be done, because all of this opposition to the Obama administration by the Republicans, I think. I'm not too well acquainted with American politics, but the Republicans, and, you know, they're convinced that the Obama administration to spend more money on domestic affairs and things, which, you know, is kind of not really hasn't really paved the way for any funding into the aerospace commissions. And that's the way it kind of remained. So that provided a path for these independent companies, things like Virgin Galactic, for example, and lava, and SpaceX, obviously. But yeah, NASA still fund projects like they used to. For example, they recently, probably don't want to go in here. They recently, right, this isn't good. Funded, okay. Ooh, scary. Ah, skeleton, oh shit. Whoa, there's a creeper right behind me, it seems. Christ alive. If any bad guys followed me out there. God, that was a massive cave. And God, it goes on, that's incredible. If we can get a better view of this from up here or something, that would be good. Oh, okay. Apparently the server is closed. We lost all our progress. No, okay, good, right, we're fine. Well, that was weird, okay. And, yeah, so NASA still launched their own projects. For example, they funded a space probe that would, right, okay, I'm not. Well, this is interesting. If any of you guys have had this problem, please do comment below, but I'm not too sure what's going on here. It says the server is closed apparently, but I'm not on a server, I'm on a single player thingy. Okay, let's just keep going. And, okay, well, it seems that we're encountering some technical difficulties, so sorry about that, guys. We will continue with our adventure when I've sorted out the technical problems. But in the meantime, my name is Fritz, and I'll see you next time. Okay, guys, we're back. I'm not too sure what that very odd glitch was. If it happens again, I'll have to investigate in more detail, but it's probably some kind of internet connection problem. I don't even know why I need an internet connection for single player, but there we go. And we're going south again, aren't we? Right. Okay, so, yeah, what I was saying before I was rather rudely interrupted. NASA do still fund their own projects. For example, they funded recently a probe that landed on the surface of a comet called the Rosetta space probe, and many people, including some people I knew, decided that it wouldn't work for whatever reason. and they kind of wrote it off. I have to go through there, but unfortunately there seems to be a few bad guys in the way, and we're not going to manage to jump into the water from there, so right, this could be a bit tricky. Where is he? Where's he gone? Let's see. Oh, actually, no, that's still not far enough over the kind of shelf of the land. Okay, I'm just gonna go down here and then jump off if I dare. Yeah, crud. Whoa, that's close. Yeah, so they funded a project to land on a comet, and the Rosetta probe landed, fired its braking thrusters, used its big cable tether to hurl its way across, and it did just that. So NASA is still going strong. Oh, bollocks. Well, oh god. Lots of mobs about today. Crud. Right. Really gotta get up here now. Yeah, landed, everything's fine, and they're on their way to funding better and more bizarre projects, which I am very much looking forward to. And it's getting dark now, and I really should begin kind of heading through. Now the amplified worlds aren't too good for exploring and that kind of thing, but oh crap, we can try to make the best of it, in which case, just looking out for mobs, we can quickly retire into our hidey hole and hope that we don't get attacked in the meantime. Quickly now. There we go, we're safe. And another thing, funded by the military this time in conjunction with NASA, was a mini space shuttle kind of project, but it wasn't any old space shuttle. This was an unmanned space shuttle, and it's been orbiting since February 2012, the X-37 OTV orbital test vehicle, and it's carrying secret surveillance equipment, so obviously if I told you I'd have to kill you, that sort of thing type situation. And I don't need rotten flesh. Why do I keep picking up rotten flesh? That goes there, and we could do with a furnace. And obviously, you know, it's keeping track on the Chinese and things, because we really want to know what they're up to for some reason. That's gravel. Okay. Apparently they're really interesting. So yes, man's keeping tabs on them, so we're safe, apparently. And we can cook this raw beef, pork chop. And yeah, and in conjunction with that, once again, NASA launched a Delta IV rocket, a big twin booster type thing, and that was also carrying what was allegedly a meteorological payload, which is code in the US military for spy satellite. And yeah, so NASA's still going strong, but their intentions are perhaps a little more militarily driven than anything else, I think. They are, however, always in the background, depending on what position you're in. And yeah, that's an interesting kind of topic. And another more recent thing was the Chinese landed a moon rover on the surface of the moon, so obviously they haven't gone quite the whole 39 steps and put a man on the moon yet. Obviously the Americans got there first, we all know that. And apparently, allegedly, they found no trace of NASA moon landings. Now, I'm one of those people who think unequivocally that the moon landings were real, and they did of course happen. But there are some people who don't really understand science in the way that you need to. I'm not claiming that I'm an expert on it, but most basic scientific principles can refute even their own arguments. So, yeah, obviously, it did happen, in my opinion, and, you know, throw at me whatever arguments you think regarding whether they didn't happen, and I will attempt to kind of prove you wrong. But until then, come up with some decent evidence, please. So yeah, obviously we know that the Chinese aren't the best friends with the Americans for numerous reasons, and that's probably the way it will always remain. But in which case we'll just have to kind of work through that, really. Diplomatic relations is a very complicated issue. So, yeah. But I think the future for space exploration remains bright, so my eyes and ears will be open to any new space programs and missions that may happen in the future. And, whoa. Can we... This is Forest Hills. Birch Forest, okay. I should have guessed. And hopefully all will go well and the government will continue to fund these important projects. I mean, people seem to underestimate the importance of having a stable space exploration company, because it does pave the way not only for that country's future, but for the future of the rest of the world, in my opinion. I mean, it's a worldwide issue, this whole prospect of space exploration and how the universe began and all that. So it's exploited. So I think it's very important that we continue to fund it in the way that we do, even though we perhaps do it less than we used to. I mean, there were people in the 60s who were horrifically opposed to the moon missions taking place. There were interviews of people saying that it was disgusting and they're hating the astronauts and everything, but, you know, these people have pretty short-term ambitions. I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong, because they are certainly right, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that it's a waste of money, because it isn't. And, yeah, that's kind of my outlook on the whole space travel malarkey. I'm fully in favour of it, and I hope it stays that way, both for the sake of humanity. And I could probably do with a pork chop after all of this chicken. There we go. Not many developing countries have got a stable space program up and running quite yet. Countries like India, they have launched a couple of rockets, but they've all broken, which obviously indicates that they haven't quite got the technology yet. But I think, give it a few years and they will be overtaking the Americans. I think most countries will be, if the Americans don't kind of do anything. And even things like the European Space Agency are funding numerous little projects and getting people involved in space travel and that kind of aspects as part of their career choice and that sort of thing. So it's not exactly 60s space fever, but I think people are going to start to appreciate the necessity of space travel. I know I broke that with my sword, I shouldn't have done that. And let's see, what else can we talk about? Well, I could... I think my next port of call on the talking front could be... I don't know really. I guess people might want to know what software and stuff I use. So I guess I could start talking about that for the next few minutes. And I can probably get rid of this tree. So yes, what software do I use? Well, my original YouTube videos used to have content recorded with Bandicam. But I guess I'll start with how I sort of got into this whole thing before anything else. And I don't know why it's lagging suddenly. I think the world is rendering before me. Oops. We seem to have timed out a little bit. Anyway, yes. I was saying, well, I started getting into it because I was intrigued by this whole idea of getting thousands of views for doing pretty much talking over a microphone. And I was kind of, what's the word? Intrigued, I think is the correct phrase. Intrigued, we'll go with that. And I thought I wanted to give it a go myself. And I take public speaking lessons and things like that, so I thought maybe I'd have a go. Now, can I use a block? There we go. There we go. I think one more will mean that I can just manage to reach across and bridge this gap. Oh no, maybe not. There we are. And I was intrigued, so I thought I'd start with a game that I enjoy and I play a lot, Kill the Space Program, and I did. But at that time I was just using my conventional Bandicam software, and in 360p quality, which, you know, was a bit shoddy and cheap, with the unregistered version of Bandicam to top it all off. And yeah, I kind of continued with that for a while until I got my hands on Fraps, and the rest is history. But I enjoy making videos. Yeah, it is quite fun. Editing can be a pain, but you always kind of pull through it eventually. And I can't quite work out whether I'm going round in circles, but I guess... Oh my god! That's amazing. And I think on that note, that rather contrived and heated note, quite literally, my name is Fritz, and I will of course see you next time on the Exiled Adventures.